What's up, everybody? It's the Bodhi Bros. I'm Phoenix Ray.
And I'm John with a J. I wear my fun glasses at night so I can. Anyway, yes, Ray, take it over. Sorry.
So what we're going to do is we come here. We have no idea what we're going to talk about.
None.
So we pull a card and let spirit dictate the conversation. So even though we don't really use it as a reading, if you have a particular area in your life that needs clarification, you can use it as a reading. So what deck you got today, John?
You know, I almost pulled this one, but I'm going to reach behind me.
Reach
I
into
was
the tree,
I,
into the boat tree.
into the Bodhi tree. I'm pulling out the. Oh, you can't see it because of the damn green screen. It is the. You can see the eyes. There it is. Woo! It is the. Oh, there's no title on it. There we go. That's why you couldn't see it. Let's see here. There we go. Bada bing. It is the, again, still can't see it. It's the Mystical Shaman Oracle card deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this one for conversational. I was going to grab the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, but I did that last time we did one of these. So, yeah, I like this deck. I don't use this deck enough. I like that it's got a few different, like 3 different segments in the reading.
Okay.
Things to consider, and there's not a lot in the book, and which is great because we'll have a lot to talk about. But all right,
Yeah.
here we go. Clearing out the old, shaking it, welcoming in the new energy to the deck, connecting to the heart. There's an opportunity, folks, now to clear your body, mind, soul, all those things, and maybe ask a question, set an intention if you want to utilize this as a reading. If not, just sit back and enjoy the flow. Here we go. So, bada bing. Times, right? I'm going to fan it out like I always do. And like you just, I'm just the hands wandering. Tell me when to stop. Like a little spider up here.
Stop.
Okay. There. And pull it around. Okay. Oh. Whoa, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. It's card number 4026. So for all you numerology fans out there, 26 is 8 or 26. And I told you, I was going to pull from the Spirit Oracle Animal deck, right?
Right. The hummingbird. Okay.
The hummingbird. We've pulled the hummingbird before from a different deck.
Okay.
So this is going to be a different message of sorts because it wasn't this. It was not this deck. I didn't even know that this card existed in this deck. The hummingbird follows me everywhere, man. So it wanted to come out today and play, folks. Its message could not be denied because it was going to surface in the animal deck, and it was like, oh, you're not going to let me come out of my cage? Well, I'll just pop up in the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck. Here we go, card number 26. Yeah. Let me grab the book. Right. Where's the book? Hummingbird medicine always means joy. Let's see, 26, that's 22. So this one has the essence, the invitation, and the medicine. And I think after, I'll do one, I'll read the essence, we'll talk about it. Then I'll read the invitation, we'll talk about it, and then the medicine. Yeah. So give us like 3 talking points at the very least.
You may even need all 3. Maybe just use 1 or 2. You never know.
All right. All right. The essence of hummingbird. Despite being so little, hummingbirds are great journeyers, migrating between North and Central or South America to feed from the summer nectar. This gentle creature can be fiercely territorial to protect its home. Hummingbird teaches us to be gentle to ourselves and protect our personal space. Hummingbird invites you to embark on your epic quest. Bypass the dung pile of old pain and hurts, head for the flowers, and learn to trust the calling you hear ever so softly.
What I got out of that too was the territorial part, but also being gentle. And I think that's kind of reminds me of like how sometimes we could be loving towards other people, but sometimes we need to still have boundaries.
It's a
And
really good point.
I think that sometimes that, you know, a lot of times spiritual people, we get kind of caught up in that because we hear so much about, you know, give to others and love everybody. And that is that message. While that message is true, that love also has to extend to yourself. And, you know, I know people too that, you know, they have taken advantage of that, or people have tried to take advantage of me. Is, you know, sometimes I'll get people on Facebook, they'll friend me, spiritual people, you know, they'll send me a couple of spiritual posts and stuff like that, and a couple namaste. Then, you know, and I know what's going to happen. A day or two later, they're asking for money,
Oh no.
you know, or they start asking questions about, you know, what do you do for your job? Hey, can I see a picture of your place? Send me a picture of your place. What do you know, trying to really get to see like where I'm at financially so they can kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
do that. And it's like, and it sucks because, you know, it's like I want to be open, and I'm, you know, I like community, and I like, you know, connecting with people,
Right.
especially people who are sometimes on the same sort of spiritual lineage as me in a way, you know, with Ram Dass and all that, Maharaji. But then it's like I get these people and they're just like, you know, asking for money, asking for a job. And it's like, and I try to be compassionate. And it's like, you know, because they always think, oh, because you're American, that you must be rich, you must be wealthy. And it's like, no, I'm not. Sorry. You know, it's, you know, I have to have those boundaries up. And it's very important because people will take advantage of that. You know, people will kind of sometimes target people who are spiritual because they think, oh, so people who are spiritual, they have a, you know, open heart, loving, and they'll give me what I want. You know, I can manipulate that. So love everybody, but but also love yourself, and loving, having boundaries is an example of loving yourself. So
I,
that's kind of what I got out of that
yeah,
gentleness, but
I,
also
I love that you pulled that out of it, man. Absolutely. Um, because whenever we do something like this, usually, for the most part, we're always in agreement. It's not like I disagree, right? We're usually on the same page, or
right.
or at least you bring me onto your page because I wasn't really aware of your page or not considering your page, and then that brings enlightenment to me in one way or another, and I'm always very appreciative of that. Um, but as I read this particular thing, I'm again glad that you brought that up because my mind went and it gravitated toward a different part of the message, and
Yeah.
that was it used the word bypass. So for me, it was kind of like triggering. I'm like, whoa, is this deck of cards? My inner Italian's coming out. Is this deck of cards freaking telling people to bypass over here?
Okay.
Right?
Are you Darth Vader?
Yes, it's that series I've been doing on the Comedy Channel. I actually go around the house, Ray, and I talk to the cats like I'm Italian Darth Vader now. And I'm like, hey, I put your food down like a half an hour ago. Why are you guys leaving it out for the fucking ants? And I'm like, whoa, the cats probably think you've been possessed by the dark side of the force. Stop it. Anyway, so they love it. I think they're big Star Wars fans. So they're like, cool, our dad's Darth Vader. Anyway, so I instantly was like, all right, it's using the word bypass. So it said embark on your epic quest and bypass the dung pile of pain and hurt. And then I had this moment of like this light above me over here. I had this moment of like that light bulb went off, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a good message because it's not telling you to bypass your feelings or emotions. It's saying take that leap and start that epic. Like if you've had this, like maybe it's a book you've been wanting to write, maybe it's a trip you've been wanting to take, some type of epic thing that transcends the mundane routine of your normal life, your day to day, your job to job, your back and forth commute or whatever, right? Like breaking the mold of the program and doing something outside the box that you've been fantasizing about for, it could be decades, years, days, months, whatever. Do it, right? And by bypassing the pain, because the pain and the hurt is what keeps, a lot of times we're like, especially if we're spiritually, what's the word I'm looking for? Addicted in a sense to working on ourselves, They're like, oh, I can't write the book yet because I'm not ready. I'm not ready to write the book because I haven't done enough work to feel confident that the message that I'm going to put out there is going to resonate with the, end equation of the person that I'm going to become, and blah, 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 and all this clatter, yada, yada, yada. And so by bypassing the hurt and pain, not leaving it behind, but reprioritizing for a moment. Like, I see you, pain and hurt, but I'm going for joy and bliss now in this moment. So I've been focusing on you, pain and hurt. I have been doing the shadow work. I have been sitting with all the inner children. We've had assemblies, we've had play dates, we've done all the stuff. And I love you guys, but daddy needs some playtime. And you can come with. In fact, I hope you will, because you're a part of me, and I'm not leaving you behind. But I got to take that step. I got to start filling those pages and writing that book. I got to book that plane ticket. I've got to take that step. That's what this portion of the message of Hummingbird is telling me.
Yeah, that's that voice of resistance. A lot of times, almost every time you're going to do something outside your comfort zone, there's always going to be that voice telling you not to, you're not ready, hold off. And really that voice is just trying to protect you. It's trying to protect you from getting hurt, protecting you from potentially being judged by other people or all that stuff. And that's okay. You listen to it and you thank it. You listen to it like, okay. It's like a little voice in their ear, like, hey, don't do that. Because, what are people going to think about you? If you take that risk, people are, you may lose friends and family. They're going to look at you differently, or blah, 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 blah. And you look at it and you say, okay, thank you. Your message has been heard. I hear you. But this is what I really want. This is what's going to, create the growth that I want, that I need. And this is what's going to make me happy, and listen to that voice, but you still have to take that, if we always listen to that voice, we wouldn't do anything. if you gave it, it's sort of like that voice is like, it was like a child. If you gave a child absolute control, would that child ever go to school? Will that child ever eat healthy? What would that child do? Probably, maybe run around crazy and never be disciplined. So you have to have that discipline, and that discipline is actually loving yourself. From my point of view, that's what it is. And so listen to it. Maybe you do have to do some inner work sometimes if it's that voice is real loud or that voice is real constant. Or another thing to do is pay attention to whose voice that is. Sometimes you'll notice it's the voice of your mom, your dad. It could be the voice of a sibling, a friend, a coworker. So pay attention when that voice comes up, that voice resistance, whose voice it is, because that could be telling you where that trauma is. So if it's always your dad's voice telling you like, don't do that, don't go out there, you're going to be, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Well, then that's probably, trauma around your father then. And that can kind of tell you where you need to go and do that healing work as well. But there's always going to be that voice telling you, that
I like that too, because the image of the hummingbird's like always buzzing, like quickly coming in, buzzing little messages in your ear, like, but the hummingbird's like, all right, I've said them. Now I'm off to my adventure. I'm off. Like the hummingbird never like lingers for too long. It's off and on to the next flower. I want to read the next part. The invitation. It says, the buzzing you feel, the buzzing you feel is the sound of your hummingbird wings preparing you to say yes to a new adventure. Okay. This is not the time to linger. My gosh, all these words, I swear I didn't read this. The word linger's coming. It's just the spirit of hummingbird. Of course they would use the word linger. This is not the time to linger on what has gone wrong, but to trust in the rightness of the moment and take bold action. Trust that success is assured, even if you must face tests and challenges to reach your destination. Know that all will be well because all is well. Because, oh, that's funny. Okay, it says, know that all will be well because the all is in the small. I've never heard that. The all is in the small.
Oh,
So like in the details, maybe in the little
yeah.
things.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Well, it sounds to me the main message of that is trusting the process, trusting the journey. And if you think about it too, think about all the bad times we've had in our lives, all the struggles, and you've made it. You made it
Right.
through stuff so far. What
Right.
makes you think you're gonna make it through this?
Right. And
You've
as you
always come out on top.
and as you said earlier, that those voices are always going to be there, and if you always listen to them and you never took action, you're never going to go anywhere, right? So
Right.
so maybe in this instance, the message that's coming up is calling you to say, roll the dice and see what's going to happen. Like you just said, right? You've made it this far. So by taking a chance today and not abandoning the voices, I'm going to use the word from the book that says bypass. I don't like that it said dung pile, but anyway, bypass the pain and the hurt. But you're not denying it and disowning it. You're just saying, you're creating a new boundary, like you said earlier too, because you're loving yourself. You're like, I hear you, I love you and respect you. Let's do this, see what happens. And then maybe we can learn together that we will be supported, we will be protected. There may be some bumps and bruises and challenges along the way, and it might not be air quote perfect, but we're gonna spark the freaking fuse to this adventure and get things rolling.
That's right. Start that Patreon.
What are you talking about? We have a Patreon?
Yes, we do. Did you know that?
No, let's take a moment to talk about that. Ray, tell us about this new Patreon.
So we just set up a Patreon. So we're going to upload all our stuff that we have on YouTube, but we're also going to make exclusive content for subscribers as well. And so we have a lot of things in the works that we're working on for our Patreon subscribers. So hop on. I think it's what you could what as low as $1 a month, I believe.
Yeah, we're offering it with no tiered incentives, because we want everyone to enjoy everything that we have to offer and not feel left out because they can't afford it. So you can start at $1, $10, whatever you feel comfortable and you lovingly want to support us with. We also encourage you to look at other Patreon creators out there and sprinkle some of your abundance upon them and make new friends and support some starving artists. But yeah, Ray and I just through spitballing a little session prior to this recording, we came up with some cool ideas. Ray came up with a great one about the events. You want to share that? I thought that was genius.
It's been our plan for a long time to eventually do retreats at places. So the people who are Patreon subscribers would have the first crack, the first to get that, to be part of that and participate in that. And when we do a retreat somewhere, they're going to be the ones that are going to get the first notice of that.
Right, so the event could actually sell out just by our Patreon community before we even offer it to the general public. Right. Depending on how intimate the event is or how many Patreon subscribers that we have. So there's one of the benefits that we'll have. Also, I've taken the liberty of offering myself and maybe when Ray's available, depending upon his work schedule, to do a monthly Zoom meeting to where the community can all come together in one big Muppet like show screen, and we could all meet each other and talk, ask questions to me or each other, whatever, and just have, I'll be the mediator of sorts, and we can just have some fun building community together. Ray also thought that, doing some, maybe stuff like this for our Zoom community, just exclusive readings just for our community. And I thought that was a great idea. Then we also talked about that Patreon offers exclusive merchandise. So we might be selling shirts and t-shirts over here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. But just for the Patreon community, you could only get these particular items. You can't buy them anywhere else. So that's cool.
And all this stuff right now we're telling you is just stuff that we just came up with like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So we haven't even really put our Bodhi minds to it fully yet. So I'm sure when we do, it's going to be something great.
Yeah, and then we connect our Bodhi minds with your Bodhi hearts because we'll be open to feedback and ideas about what are some things that we could offer, and if we feel comfortable and confident that we can do that, then bang, that'll be available as well if we have the time, bandwidth, energy, resources, etc. So look what Hummingbird brought out. All right, let's shift into the last part of this, and it is the medicine of Hummingbird. All right. This mighty being comes to teach you stillness in motion and to trust your inner knowing that the sweetest nectar is assured. Failing to act when the moment is right can spoil your journey. If you feel your safety, comfort, or day-to-day survival are more important than saying yes to the invitation to explore the unknown, you will have to work much harder to achieve what is being offered to you freely now. Still your mind. Again, still your mind, even in the midst of your very hectic schedule, and heed the gentle voice that calls to you to test new wings.
What this is telling me is you have an option to listen to fear or listen to love. Fear is always in the mind. Fear is always going to be there. There's always going to be that voice of fear, like we were just talking about, that little voice telling you, no, play it safe, don't take that risk. You might get hurt, you might get judged. But the heart, a lot of people, don't think the heart is soft. When you talk about the heart, they kind of think like light. But the heart is fierce. The heart is where the courage comes from, is that heart. Because our heart really, a true open heart really has no fear. Because the heart knows it's always safe. It knows it's one with all things, so it doesn't mind. So listen to the voice of the heart. So that's when it means like still the mind. Sometimes when you're in a chaotic situation, sometimes all that means is just taking a deep conscious breath, just taking and calm that mind, relax. Relaxation is probably one of the key techniques in spirituality. Because when you're not relaxed, that mind is just choppy, like waves on the ocean. The waves could be choppy at the surface, but when you go down deep, it's all calm, it's all peaceful. And that peacefulness is inside you.
Why is it that word is so triggering for so many people? Like when you tell someone to relax, or hey man, like just relax. Why do you think that is? I feel like we've talked about this before.
It's because they're not relaxed and they really want validation for what they're feeling.
Okay.
And so I'm not telling, I know there's feel what you're feeling, don't deny your feelings.
Right.
Feel your feelings. But then you always notice there's always in the background, no matter how chaotic things get, there's always that, like, you may have to go deep, but there's always that there's an inner stillness in every moment. And that's what it is the witness. So what you could do is you could feel your feelings, you're witnessing them. You could identify as the witness and allow those feelings to be, allow that anger, allow that anxiety to be there, and just witness it and love it. Love it. Give it loving acceptance.
Oh, your turn. Drop in the loving acceptance. Oh, and or awareness. We use both those terms at least
Loving
once.
awareness leads to loving acceptance.
Potato, tomato. So yeah, I love that, man. I like that you mentioned, you brought up that you'd be protected when you take these risky steps, again, in your own words, of course. And it reminded me of a very specific story as it pertains to hummingbird medicine. I was in, we'll call it the jungles, the rainforests of Costa Rica. And we were on this epic hike, man. It was this beautiful, just this massive rainforest like park. It was just so verdant, just green, and just trees to the skies, and just so damp and delicious, and just, it was just magical. It could have spent days there just walking around. I was struggling with a little inflammation in my body at the time. So some of the paths were and these were like ancient paths that were dug and built, I would say centuries ago. And you could see the old stone climbing up certain trails in the mountains and stuff. And it was just, it was beautiful, but it was very taxing on the body, at least my body. And most everyone that was with us was much younger. I think I was the eldest, at 46 years, 45 years old at the time. And still, I was feeling the pains of the 40s settling in for sure. And plus that, and the gout stuff that I was dealing with and continue to chronically battle. And I was getting to the point where I was breaking down, man. And I knew we were far away from the parking lot too, because we went in, and it was going to be a while before, and they were still going forward. So I'm just like, man, when are we going to turn around? When are we going to turn around? And I'm hitting a wall now, Ray. I mean, I'm like, shit. I know when my body's like had enough, and if I push it past that, I usually suffer some really dire consequences. So I took a moment, and the team went up ahead, and they were observing this magical ancient tree with a diameter that was as what seemingly looked as big as a house. It was incredible. And I was missing out on that bonding experience with that ancient being. And I was kind of sad about that. But now I'm in solitude in the middle of the rainforest here. And I just took a breath, and I was like, I need help. And I was like, I can't do this, but I don't want to ruin everyone's trip. I'm like, and I called to the jungle, man. I was like, I need help. Like, help me with the power that's within you. I'm like, lift me up and carry me through this, because I can't do it alone, man. And I took a breath, I gathered myself, and I started walking toward where they were gathered by the tree. And they were all taking a picture of themselves, hugging the tree and everything. And as they left the area of the tree, and they were joining up with me again to find out where I went, why I wasn't with them, as all of them walked up, there was like 8 people. As they walked up, this giant hummingbird zooms right like up to my face like this, and it's like, zzz. I mean, not one of the little ones, one of the big ones, right? And it was beautiful, iridescent rainbow, the greens, the blues, it was screaming color. And it was right, and the sharp ass sword beak, man. Like, I'm like, oh, now I understand the ferocity of a hummingbird, how they could hurt someone that's intruding upon their home. They're gentle but can be fierce, said the reading, right? It's right in my face. The beak is barely like gracing my skin, right? And it was like zzz, zzz, right in front of me, zzz, to the left. And it was like, here's your message. Here's your strength. We will carry you. And everyone stepped back, and they were witnessing this hummingbird event with me. It wasn't there to visit anyone else, because I called it. I asked for it, Ray, and it was instantly delivered, man. Wow. And I think because my heart was so wide open, and I was just so vulnerable, and I was like, I need help. The universe was like, got you, man. That's all you have to do. Here you go. And it was like, bang. And everyone was like, whoa, dude, that was for you, right? And I'm like, they didn't even know, the dialogue that I had just had. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And they're like, no, dude, that was for you. And I'm like, I know. And I explained that, to them that I just asked for help. And they're like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? And as they asked me, I'm like, I'm fine. Dude, that encounter filled me with adrenaline. It filled me with hope. It filled me with love, man. It like, wow, okay, I'm going to be okay, because we're always going to be okay. Like, there's always someone, some spirit, something will always be there to nurture and cradle you if your heart is open to be, because it's okay to ask for help. But that's my hummingbird. That's one of my hummingbird stories. Thank you for listening.
That's a good story, man.
Thanks for listening.
You definitely have a connection with hummingbirds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I think this card was probably for you too.
Stop it. This card is for us and everyone listening.
Yeah.
We're all a match to this hummingbird.
We're all matched to it, but I mean, I think it probably has some more maybe special, telling you to like maybe on a more personal level. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I pulled the card from my heart to share this message with everyone. Right. So I see what you're saying. Yes. It definitely came from the channel that I personally open, that finds its way into my cards and my life all the time. I called my partner my little hummingbird. And this was before, like, I think she opened the doors to the wings of this message frequently entering my life, because I had never really been attracted to hummingbirds nor had a thing for hummingbirds until I met her. And I can't even tell you where that nickname came from. Like, I think it was just one of those, you're divinely inspired and you call someone like your little, your little duck or whatever. And you're like, why am I a duck? You're like, I don't know. I look at, my, my partner doesn't look like a hummingbird, but maybe there's something in her spirit that's very reminiscent of what this message is telling us, that I subconsciously just was able to regurgitate when we first met. And I'm like, she's not a hummingbird. and then she's like, you have no idea. And then the bird started attacking me from all the like, yeah. Anyway, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. So what you got anything else about this message or this talk of ours?
So it seems like the main message is to go for it. Go for it. And
are those bells chiming in the distance? Yeah, there were. That was so funny. You're like, the message is go for it. And I heard like bells chiming in the distance, which is indicative of the angels ringing the bells, or the universe sounding the bells saying, listen to Ray. This is affirmed. What he speaks is the truth. So go, races, Phoenix races, go for it. And the bells agree, folks.
There you have it. The angels. The angels validate the message. Go for it.
The angels have spoken. Mic drop. There we go.
There's always going to be a voice of fear. Listen to the message, but you don't always have to abide by it. You don't have to let that bring you, So listen to that voice, whatever it is. Take the information with a thank you. Thank you for that advice. Thank you for that warning. But I'm going to do what's best for me. I'm going to do best, because what's best for me is going to be best for the world. It's my expansion is the world's expansion. And as I grow, the world will grow.
So we're confidently throwing caution to the wind and becoming the wings of the hummingbird in the same breath. And we are embarking on our epic journeys, each and every one of us, like individually and collectively. And we'll meet out there on the great beyond. And we'll dance and we'll cosmically twist up with one another, and we'll celebrate in abundance and joy in all things hummingbird medicine.
There it is.
We're out, folks. Yeah. I've got nothing else. I'm John with a J. Until next time.
I'm Phoenix Ray.
We'll see you. Patreon.com. Look up the Bodhi Bros. Find us. Also on TikTok. We'll see you soon. Thanks for everything, folks.
We out.
We're out.